Welcome back. Struggle icons and military veterans who died in exile may soon be laid to rest in their home cities and villages.
That's right. Plans have been put in place for the repatriation of human remains of these fallen heroes. Military Veterans DG Irene Mpolweni joins us now to tell us more about these plans. DG, thank you so much for your time this morning. Let's just talk a little bit about this implementation plan. I do believe that it is a plan that it's a new plan. We had an old plan, now it's a new plan on how to practically repatriate it. But repatriating the remains of those who were lost in exile, that in itself has got so many considerations, including country-to-country relations. Just talk to us a little bit about this.
Good morning to you, Faith, and good morning to the viewers. Indeed, we are unpacking the plan towards ensuring that we are going to be implementing and being able to fetch our military veterans and fallen heroes from different parts of the continent. And the plan takes into consideration the national and provincial governments in conjunction with the stakeholders, which are the military veterans themselves, the communities, the families, and of course, there's institutions that have to assist us to be able to do this work. And those institutions, amongst others, South African Heritage Resources Agencies, the Missing Person Task Teams headed by the NPA, and various other institutions that have to come on board. And yesterday we had a workshop to unpack those roles and responsibilities, and we are very encouraged to see some formidable progress in terms of the work that has been done, of course, by the Missing Person Task Team, which has been able to uncover about 179 graves at the present moment.
DG, this is a sensitive situation, of course, and a sensitive process that I would imagine will require quite a lot of work and detail going into it. Just what exactly will be going into this process? Because at least, again, as Faith had said, it's a new one. You know, there was one that had originally been put in place, but this new one, I imagine, is going to have a lot more work as you see it through. What is it going to take?
It's important to indicate that the plan is already been approved in cabinet. Now we're busy working on the implementation, involving, amongst others, also through diplomatic relations, as we have indicated that it's going to be a country-to-country plan, and we need to ensure that we follow all of those protocols so that we're able to bring back the remains of our heroes back home. Most importantly is the guidance, of course, that we get from the Presidential Task Team has assisted us into even taking stock of going to these countries and taking some visits, as some of our fallen heroes are particularly in the gardens, memorial gardens in some of the countries, and they are also part of the legacy of those countries. Therefore, negotiations with the countries, of course, and the embassies and the institutions in those countries are going to be very important as well.
You know, as you're speaking about this, DG, though there's been approval to do it, but we cannot forget the fact that there's going to be a cost implication, especially with being able to usher in such an intricate and very, very sensitive operation. I mean, it's a very sensitive to go into somebody else's country and wanting to repatriate the remains, especially the remains from such a long time ago. Do we have an understanding in terms of exactly what the cost implication will be to be able to carry out such an operation?
Yes, indeed. Within this new policy, we have looked into the fact that we need to take our fallen heroes with consideration of cost, of course, looking at a once-off trip with groups of families, if it needs be, not necessarily what we did in the past, which was a one-by-one process, which was very costly. So interactions, considerations with families, and ensuring that we do all the necessary homework before we leave our country to get into those countries is another way of ensuring that we limit the unnecessary cost.